Atul Chaturvedi, the Executive Chairman at Shree Renuka Sugars, joins us on the show now. Mr. Chaturvedi, hi. Thank you so much for making time and speaking with us. Well, the sugar output this year so far is lower than what we saw last year. Now, given the fact that the government has undertaken steps to ensure adequate supply, do you anticipate there is going to be a bit of supply crunch and then a consequent price increase? Or what's your expectation of how the demand-supply metrics are likely to pan out this year?
No, as far as India is concerned, India is totally insulated from whatever is happening in the rest of the world. We have adequate stocks, and I see no reason why, even at a lower sugar production, there should be any hiccup as far as the domestic availability is concerned. Let me put the record straight. In fact, India's production this year is closer to about 37 million tons in terms of sucrose, whereas in terms of sugar, our production is only about 32.5 because about 4 to 4.5 million tons going to get diverted to ethanol. And our domestic consumption is just about 27.5 or thereabouts. So I don't see there's any problem as far as availability is concerned, but definitely people will be a little worried on the how El Nino pans out, and in fact, some effect of the world prices being on the moving northwards would have some spillover effect in India, but I don't think there is any issue as far as availability is concerned. And price also does not have too much of a potential to go up beyond a certain level. Yeah.
Right. Good morning, Mr. Chaturvedi. We've also seen an increase in sugar prices of late, but it has not been the extent to the surge in global prices, in sugar prices that we've seen globally. So what is your outlook in terms of where prices could be headed, given that sugar production estimates as well for the season have been revised downwards?
If you really look at the world values would be closer to about 60 rupees a kilo if you compare it with the Indian values. Whereas Indian values for a miller are in the region of about 35, 36 rupees a kilo. And I think at these values, there will be absolutely no reaction from the consuming public. But definitely, there is a potential for the markets to go up marginally. But always the government has the Brahmastra with them, and the Brahmastra is in the form of allocation. There's absolutely no issue in terms of availability, and the government can always use their Brahmastra of increasing the allocation once the festival season kicks in. But definitely the downside is now capped. Whatever will happen will probably happen on the upside, maybe marginally. Nothing great about it. Yeah.
But sugar export capitalization, relaxation rather, looks like a distant dream. Do you believe that some way or the other regulations imposed on the sugar industry in terms of pricing, export, supply are hurting the industry, and you can do a lot better here?
No, I won't like to comment on that, but the fact remains, as far as the policymakers and the decision makers in the country is concerned, they are more bothered about the 142 billion people, 1.42 billion people. And hello?
Mr. Chaturvedi, we can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So we don't see any reason why there should be problems in fact in terms of, can you come back with the question again, because I just lost that link.
No, I just wanted to understand, the kind of caps and regulations that have been imposed on the sugar industry in terms of pricing, export, supply. They must be hurting the industry.
I won't say they're hurting the industry, but it definitely does not send a very good signal to the world market, because the world is looking at India for supplying in the region which are closer to our country, like the Middle Eastern region, and because they're all non-sugar producing countries. But definitely industry would love to have it, but at the end of the day, as a policymaker, they would definitely be looking more at the Indian public. And the first casualty, in my view, whenever there is a blip on the sugar production side, will always be exports, because banning exports is the easier way out. And then the second casualty, if and when it happens, could be ethanol, and the consumer would, in any case, be always protected. So I don't see, and sugar is, we must understand, it's a highly regulated industry. So sugar is not going anywhere. Yeah.
Right, and Mr. Chaturvedi, given the way crude oil prices have come off quite a bit from their recent highs, are you seeing any demand headwinds from OMCs? Could the lower crude oil prices impact India's ethanol blending push?
No, I don't see any reason as far as the demand from the OMCs is concerned. But in any case, now as far as the sugar industry is concerned, this is now the lean season. So the availability per se of ethanol from the domestic sources will also be relatively less. In fact, during the season time, most of the ethanol is actually made from the cane juice. Now that juice is not available, so it will all be made from molasses and sea molasses. So I don't see any problems as far as the supply side problems are concerned. Absolutely no issues on that front. Because the ratio, the blending ratio still is about 11.6% or thereabouts. And the target for this year is 12%. So it's still a long way to go. And I see no reason of any demand hiccups.
All right, and given that the ethanol story as well has been a huge game changer for the industry, ethanol pricing remains a concern which the industry has, of course, raised. Requests have been made to the government to raise prices. What are you expecting when it comes to ethanol pricing?
No, ethanol prices will have to move up, because if the sugar prices in the domestic market start moving up, so it has to match. In fact, our suggestion is that ethanol pricing should actually be done on a quarterly basis, and that would ensure that whatever are the market movements will also get factored in the pricing. So my take is that with sugar prices now looking relatively strong, even domestically, we may have to seriously relook at the ethanol prices. And I'm sure the government must be aware of this, and they must be taking note of the price movements. Yep.
I'm certain they are. Atul, great to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
On that note, we're going to